What if our terms have no common monomial factor? Suppose we wanted to factor the polynomial ab minus 5a minus 7b plus 35. It's easy to see that these terms have no common monomial factor. Therefore, if this polynomial is going to have any factors, they all have to be at least binomials. With that being the case, the simplest this could possibly be is the product of two binomials. That's what we hope to see. That's what we're going to try for. So that being the case, we're going to try to wind backward the process of multiplying binomials. Notice this polynomial has 4 terms. The method that we're going to look at now, the method of factoring by grouping, is a method for factoring a polynomial with 4 terms. Notice when we multiply two binomials, we have 4 terms before we combine anything. So we're going to wind the process of multiplying binomials backward here. I'm going to do this first with the area model, and then without the area model. When we're setting up the area model, we have to choose how to put our terms into boxes. We should try to choose so that terms in the same row or column have some common factors. So I'm going to choose to write this so that my terms in my first row have an A in common, and my terms in my first column have a B in common. And we'll see how that works. If you try to factor by grouping and it doesn't work, we'll see what we mean by doesn't work in a minute. Try again, just swapping the terms in your bottom row. You might have been out of order. Okay, so we want to know what two binomials we multiplied together to get this. And our first step, just to get things going, is to take the greatest common factor of the first row. We're going to write it on the left. That's going to be the first term in one of our polynomials. Looking at these two, I see that their greatest common factor is just A. Okay, that's actually enough to get us moving. Now we're going to divide the first row by that greatest common factor we just found. A times what is AB? A times B is AB. A times what is negative 5A? A times negative 5 is negative 5A. Okay, we have just one more space left to fill in. To fill that in, well, we'll divide the term in the lower left by the factor above it. What do I need to multiply by b to get negative 7b? That's just negative 7. Okay, we're almost done. We know now what we want our factors to be, but we need to check that that actually was correct. We'll check that the product in the lower left works. Negative 7 times negative 5 is positive 35. So that really did work. Our original binomial, AB minus 5A minus 7B plus 35, that's what we get when we multiply A minus 7 times B minus 5. Now, I really like using the area model for the grouping method because it makes the signs really easy to keep track of. Maybe you don't like the area model. Maybe you'd rather write this out just along a line. If we're going to do this without the area model, it is vitally important that we rewrite subtraction as adding the opposite. So we'll have AB plus negative 5A plus negative 7B plus 35. Okay, and now what we're going to do is put in parentheses to group the terms into two pairs. Okay, and now we're going to factor out the greatest common factor from each pair. So in this pair, the greatest common factor is A. And in this pair, the greatest common factor is 7. Okay, at this stage, we compare these two binomials, and we notice that they're different. We're going to try factoring out a negative 1 to see if we can get that to work. So the first part is going to remain A times B plus negative 5. When we factor out the negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. What do I need to multiply by negative 1 to get negative B? That's just a B. What times negative 1 is 5? That'll be a negative 5. Now they're the same. Once these two binomials are the same, we are going to treat them as a unit. We will treat them as a common factor of this two-term polynomial. So we'll have an A times our unit plus a negative 7 times that same unit. Notice if we use the distributive property here, treating B plus negative 5 as a unit, we would get back up here. So our factors then are A minus 7 and B minus 5. This move where we treat the binomial factor as a unit is a little bit of an odd move. It takes some getting used to, but once we get used to it, it's actually extremely useful.